One part of the world that has been hit particularly hard by the coronavirus pandemic is Italy. And former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrish, joins us live from Rome, where his wife is stationed as American ambassador to the Vatican. Hey, Newt, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and it's great to talk with you, even if it's, required by the current circumstances to be a distant experience. But I'm delighted to be with you.
We're absolutely happy to have you. So the news out of Italy continues to be grim. The death toll has passed 7,500, higher than anywhere else in the world. And hospitals are on the brink of collapse. But there seems to be some hope that the rate of new cases seems to be declining because everyone is what is the word?
Quarantining? Isolating?
At home. Quarantining, thanks. Yeah, isolating. Yes. So how are things on the ground where you are?
Well, you're exactly right. We have, everything's closed down except grocery stores and pharmacies and gas stations. The police, if you're on the street without a legitimate reason, the police will fine you up to $8,000.
Wow.
So they're really trying to get people to self-isolate, to recognize that breaking the pattern of the virus is central. They were a little late, frankly, in starting, but once they started to move, I've been very impressed, not just with the government, but also with the Italian people who, as you know, are very happy, very friendly, very social people. And they've taken very well to being disciplined. They know it's life and death. And I think probably in the next few days, we're going to see the peak of the viruses, which have been mostly in northern Italy. There are about 100,000 Chinese workers living in northern Italy. And the government did not close off the airline flights early enough. And so they had several flights over the course of a week or two bringing the disease in, and it really got out of control. And now they're gradually getting it back into control. But it's been sobering to watch.
Speaker, this is Sarah. How long have you and your wife, Callista, been in lockdown, and how are you both feeling? Have you experienced any symptoms, or have you even gotten outside recently, fresh air?
Well, we can go out and walk around in the yard behind our house. But I have to say, first of all, we have his and her thermometers. We do check regularly to make sure our temperatures are fine. We seem to be doing pretty good right now, and we're pretty isolated, so that helps some. She is running the embassy by telephone and by Zoom and GoToMeeting and Skype. All the staff at the embassy is working from home now. They did manage, despite being this dispersed, they managed to work with Franklin Graham's Samaritan's Purse, and they flew an entire hospital into northern Italy, 68-bed hospital with 60-some doctors and nurses. And the Italians were very grateful because they went to one of the hardest hit towns and really are faced with a very challenging number of people who have the virus up there. So she stays active, she's busy. She was talking with the foreign minister for the Vatican today. But we are being very careful, and we're taking very serious, and I would say this to everybody, particularly in New York, you've got to take this thing very seriously. When you start getting a large number of people who are infected, you've got to self-isolate, and you've got to be really careful.
Yeah.
Hey, Newt, maybe you can send that information to the guy who is leading the country, because we need people like yourself to remind all these folks, particularly after Megan was talking about the people on the floor of the Senate. You need to get that message to those guys too.
I think that's right. I think when they do those briefings, they should probably practice exactly the same physical spacing that they want the rest of us to do. In the Senate, people like Senator John Thune had flown home because he did come down, not necessarily with the virus, but he didn't know. And so he didn't want to take the risk. I think there were 4 senators who didn't vote because they had self-isolated. And that's what they should do. I mean, if you have any doubts, you have to remember, even if you're going to be all right, you could carry the disease to somebody who might die because they have another condition, or they're older or whatever. So, but I think that's a good point. And I do think the White House, when they do these briefings, should probably actually exhibit that kind of spacing.